Title: Shadows of the Playground. On the outskirts of the quaint little town of Springfield, where the sun shone brightly and laughter echoed through the streets, there was an abandoned playground. It had been neglected for years, overtaken by the creeping vines of nature and a thick layer of dust, a forgotten relic of childhood joy. Despite its desolate state, a curious allure surrounded it, drawing in thrill seekers and the overly adventurous. Rumors whispered through the high school halls about the strange occurrences in the playground, tales of figures prancing in the shadows, playing tricks on unsuspecting visitors. Among these tales, the legend of Misty gripped the imagination of the students the most. She was described as a girl with hauntingly pale skin and dark, empty eyes. Dressed in a tattered dress that swirled around her frail body like smoke, Misty was said to lure children into the depths of the playground, where no one returned. Some claimed to hear her giggles like ice against a window, while others said she would appear fleetingly from the corner of their eyes, only to vanish when they looked directly. Max, a skeptical junior with a taste for adventure, decided to challenge the lore. "It's just a stupid story," he declared while seated in the cafeteria, leaning back in his chair so that it teetered dangerously. "I'll go to the playground tonight and prove it." Quote, his friends, Jessica and Leo, exchanged worried glances but couldn't resist the tension mounting in Max. "You're going alone? What if it is real?" Jessica asked, her voice a mix of concern and curiosity. Max waved her off, a grin plastered on his face. "It's a playground. I'll just take a couple of pictures and come back. You'll see. It's all just a goofy story meant to scare kids." Quote, when the sun dipped beneath the horizon and the moon hung high, casting a silver glow over the earth, Max set off toward the playground. The tall grass bowed with the fall breeze, creating a rustling sound that accompanied his footsteps. As he approached, the air grew dense and cold, the laughter of his earlier bravado swallowed by the encroaching shadow of the forgotten park. The swings creaked ominously, swaying back and forth as if beckoning him closer. The rusty slide loomed high, reflecting the moonlight like a sinister grin. With a deep breath, he stepped into the playground, the crunch of gravel beneath his feet igniting a familiar fear. He pulled out his phone, taking pictures of the once joyful structures now frozen in time. Suddenly, from the periphery of his view, a flutter of movement caught his attention. He turned sharply but saw nothing, a mere figment, or perhaps his mind playing tricks on him. Yet deep down, he felt the chills creeping up his spine, an awareness of being watched. "Hey, Misty, you here?" he called out mockingly, his voice echoing into the stillness. A silence wrapped around him like a veil, and with every passing minute, anxiety began to replace his bravado. As he ventured deeper, a giggle broke through the silence, a sound that was both juvenile and deeply unsettling. He turned, eyes scanning the shadows, heart racing. "This isn't funny," he shouted, forcing bravado he no longer felt. And then he saw her. Misty stood at the edge of the merry-go-round, hair swaying like living shadows. Pale skin gleamed eerily under the moonlight, and her smile stretched far too wide, a gash of darkness. "Come play with me," she beckoned, her voice soft but dripping with malice. For a moment, Max was entranced, a mix of bewilderment and fear veiling his senses. He felt a pull, something darker than any nightmare he had ever envisioned. "No, I need to go home," he stammered, slowly backing away. Misty's expression twisted, her smile morphing into something grotesque. The laughter turned to shrill wails, echoing in the night, distorting into a chorus of tormented voices. He turned and ran, but the playground twisted around him like a labyrinth, the once familiar forms morphing into grotesque reflections of joy turned to despair. The swings began to swirl faster, the merry-go-round spinning wildly with ghostly children now visible, their faces twisted in agony, reaching out for him. Panic surged through Max as he dashed toward the exit, the darkness closing in around him. Just as he thought he was breaking free, he tripped on a vine that had suddenly emerged from the ground, sending him sprawling to the dirt. "There's no escape," Misty whispered, her voice a soft caress, chilling him to the bone. Max felt cold, clammy hands wrap around his ankles. He kicked desperately, struggling against the grip of the playground, but that was useless, a lost soul destined to join the shadows. As his screams faded into the night, Misty giggled, and the playground once again fell silent, waiting for the next curious fool to wander into its depths. With morning light, groups of parents and children passed by, blissfully ignorant of the horror lingering within the rusty slides and creaking swings. Oblivious to the playground that wasn't merely abandoned but a threshold to a realm where whispered fears became reality. In the shadows, Misty continued to play, ever hungry for new friends, her laughter an eternal echo in the haunted heart of the playground.